Testing, testing. Sitting down, find a seat, and we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. Ms. Cordelia Clapp, which is the president of Pawnee Nation College Board of Trustees, and her two granddaughters, Olivia and Briar Clapp, will be singing the national anthem for us. Okay, we're going for the invocation first. Sorry about that. And doing the invocation will be Mr. Pat Fox, our chief.
Good afternoon. Welcome everybody to our sacred roundhouse here. You know, I'm thankful for y'all being here to enjoy this special day. So just bear with me. Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you again for this day, Lord. This day that's been set aside, God. You see all these folks over here, God. Just you know, they're continuing their education, Lord. They're graduating today. Lord, I'm just asking you to bless them in their careers that they're set out to do, Lord. Give them the strength, God, to overcome the things that they will see, that they will hear in their lives, God, in their work. Father, just thank you for the teachers that, you know, that's helped them through this as well. Their families, God, that, you know, supported them through this, Lord, and our college here, and asking that you just bless, you know, each and every person that's represented here, the families, God, the tribes, you know, whatever it is they may be in need of, Lord, we just ask that you bless them abundantly. Now, Lord, I just give you this day, this time, God, just be with us as we continue through this. And we just give you all the praise and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. And now, Ms. Cordelia Clapp and her two granddaughters, Olivia and Briar. you very much. Such a lovely now. You can have a seat, please. And I just want to remind you that this is a kind of a special ceremony for many people, so it'd be nice if, make sure your phones don't ring while we're going through the ceremonies and events that are going on today. My name is Felipe Chavez Ramirez. I'm the Chief Academic Officer at Pawnee Nation College, and it's a real pleasure to be here. I always get choked up when people graduate. I've been an educator for like 30 years, and it's always good to see this kind of excitement going on. So I'm very happy you guys are here to join in with them. The excitement that comes with graduating any activity means that you've reached the end of a road, and you're starting, hopefully, you now have many other roads you could take, not just one. So hopefully this is the beginning of something greater for all of our graduates today. So right now, I want to ask our president of Pawnee Nation College, Stacy Burns, to come and introduce some of our special guests today.
Hello and welcome. I wanted to recognize some special people here today. Board of Trustee member and Pawnee Business Council member, Dr. Evans. Board of Trustee member, Jennifer Gover, and Council-elect. She's here. Our special speaker, which I'm going to do a special bio on him later, Arvo McKinnon. And then we also have our chair of our Board of Trustees, Cordelia Clapp. Our Pat Leading Fox, who's Chief Skiddy. And also we have our National Tribal Trial College instructors and University of Wisconsin Dean. We have Brenna Hanley and Hallie White. Very special. And also I wanted to recognize Donna Hare. I saw her in the crowd somewhere. She's a Pawnee Business Council member also. And also in the crowd is Charlie Hanger. He's a former trooper, and he is the one that arrested Timothy McVeigh from the Oklahoma City bombing. And he's sitting right over here. So, thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce you to Ms. Cordelia Clapp, the president of the Pawnee Nation College Board of Trustees.
I'd just like to welcome everybody here, and we're here for one reason, and that is to see these our young, well, all of them are pretty young anyway. No, to see all of them are graduates. What a blessing, what an honor to be here in Pawnee and on the grounds here of our boarding schools that we had, you know, and our people. Can you imagine all of our relatives that were here in this boarding school? You know that they said prayers and they cried and they prayed and they lifted up, you know, their prayers up into the heavens, that something good would come out of this and something good that would happen to the boarding school grounds, and their spirit is here with us. And we are so thankful that, you know, all these prayers, we must, you know, recognize that. And we just want to, each one of us, to give prayer up to our Lord for every one of these students that graduated and completed, and give them a guidance, you know, and from our Lord to be with them through all this journey that they have, the rest of their journey they have on this good earth, you know, for their future, for their people. And these aren't just all Pawnee people. They're from the rest of the tribal college, tribal towns around us here. And so, but we thank you so very much for coming and being a part of this, and our special speaker and all those who traveled. We want to bless that you have a safe way home, and when you get home, that you find your home better and your people better than when you came. And again, we applaud the graduates here, and they're willing to, you know, journey through this life to better for themselves and for their people. And we thank them, and we lift up all of them up in prayer today to watch over them, for our dear Lord to watch over them, and welcome here to our Pawnee Nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we're introducing you to the faculty that were in charge of organizing, the logistics, making sure everything was in order and took place the way it should have been. Put students in order when they got a little bit out of hand and things of that sort. So they'll be coming up, the faculty of this tribal crime victim advocacy program from the University of Wisconsin. Ms. Haley and Brenda are now here to present, make some remarks and introduce the class valedictorian.
Whoops. Good afternoon. I'm Hallie Bonger-White. I'm the Dean of the National Tribal Trial College at the University of Wisconsin. And Brenna Hanley and I are here today. We have 14 graduates of the Certificate in Crime Victim Advocacy at this monumental project that's funded by the United States Department of Justice Office for Victims of Crime. So this is a really big deal. The United States Department of Justice Office for Victims of Crime in Washington, D.C. gave money to Pawnee Nation College to do something really revolutionary, which is to empower people on the local level to identify their problems and solve them themselves, and to address violent crime victimization in their own communities and empower them to go on and to have careers in the criminal justice system, assisting victims, working with law enforcement, prosecutors, courts, advocacy agencies, healthcare agencies in order to be able to support victims who are survivors of violent crime. And so we have 14 incredible people who have worked so hard to earn these degrees, these certificates, and they're gonna continue on with their journey with us. They're gonna be doing an internship for 400 hours with Attorney's General Office, with the United States Attorney's Office, hopefully, victim advocacy organizations throughout the area, and then they're gonna go on to the University of Wisconsin Law School next year and earn a certificate in tribal court legal advocacy, so they can become your next generation of tribal court judges and tribal court prosecutors and public defenders and legal services providers, or people who become elected public officials and they change the codes and the laws and the policies and the protocols and procedures, and they work with the state and the federal government and other Indian tribes in order to be able to improve safety and justice and healing for everyone in the community. So I'm super proud of everyone. We have I want to announce 2 top students. They're all top. They didn't get through this 15-week, like 150 hours. They've all put in a lot of time. We have 2 top students that I wanted to introduce and give them an opportunity to be able to receive a beautiful award and then give us a few words this afternoon. So the valedictorian of the class is Ms. Dolly Johnson. Dolly, if you're available to come up and say a few words. And Brenna, you want to give you the plaque?
Should we?
You take a picture now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get our picture.
Right here? Should we
Could
step forward?
we see you?
Oh, this way? Sorry. Let's scoot up a little bit. Come here.
I just want to thank Pawnee Nation for bringing this program to Pawnee. It's a really good program for this area and for Native American people. I thank Haley and Brianna for accepting me into this program. In my early education journey, when I started way back when I was young, I learned early on that learning and growing is something that was always going to be something that you can keep and always can grow from it. So this program really had a wealth of knowledge in the crime advocacy area, and going to symposiums during this past spring and stuff, it's really been informative. So I just want to thank you guys for having this program and stuff.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, it's A. She'e Brenna Hanley and She. Kia Ani and Shle Toy Glini Bushes Chin. Ado Tkachini Eda Chanele. Hello, I'm from the Navajo Nation. Again, my name is Brenna Hanley, and I'm a part of the faculty for the National Tribal Trial College. And I had the great pleasure, and it was such an honor to work with all 14 graduates throughout these several weeks. And it entailed assignments, live discussions every week. So we were able to meet. Although we wanted to sit and talk in person, we were Zooming every week, and they all would attend, and we would have actual live discussions about the assignments, the readings, any questions that they had. So our awards are based on all of that. We're just a cumulative of grades and attendance, and we wish we could give each and one of you an award because we could say something positive and outstanding about every one of you. And I'm so grateful for your attendance in helping us celebrate today because it really is a huge deal. I also started with a legal advocacy course through the National Tribal Trial College, which they will be attending. I hope all of you will be attending next year. And it really does make a huge impact because not everybody can go to law school or go to accredited schools because we have families and we have our community to take care of. So that's what this program is designed for, is to train and raise them up and teach them and show them, but also we told them that they're not getting rid of us, that we have built a relationship that we are forever in their lives, whether they want us or not. They're stuck with us now. And that's what this is about. That's what this is about coming together and bonding so that we can go out and protect our communities around here. This is the inaugural year for the course. And so that's what makes these 14 fantastic individuals so special and important because we want this to continue to grow. We want this not just for Oklahoma, but for other states, to train people up the same way so that we can protect our tribal communities and our tribal survivors. And so we hope that this is the first of many graduations here. But thank you to all of you for your time and dedication and just being my calm, you all know what I was going through while we were doing this together, and you really were my medicine. You really were being able to see you guys every week was a relief. Like right now, I could breathe when I see you guys and just seeing everything that you guys are putting forward and then seeing and believing you guys so much. Maybe a couple of you don't really see the impact that you're gonna do within your communities 5 years from now, but I can. And I'm excited. And I'm extremely proud and glad that I get to walk alongside of you. So I'm here for you. I have so much love for each and every one of you. And you're stuck with me. So I'm here, not just today. So keep doing good things, and we'll see you again and talk to you again soon. But the next award that we are going to hand over is the Rising Star Award. So this award, again, is based on the academic part as well as the in-person part. Miss Electa Hare, would you please come up? Let's take a picture. Okay. And then,
All right. Noah, my daughters are in the back. They made it over with our lovely Lily Jones. Thank you, Lily. All right. To all of our graduates, those who could make it and those who maybe they couldn't make it, maybe they didn't complete the semester, maybe they started with us. I wanted all of us to be here together. And for whatever reason, they didn't quite make it to this point. But I know they put in the work, and I know that I want blessings for their families and for them to continue to do well and overcome anything that comes in their way. So I think of them today too. Iriwe sura kara, iriwe durahe. Dara ke skutu. South Band 4. What you all did, it is good. We are also very proud. In this class, we learned that a victim of a crime is an individual who suffers direct or threatened physical, emotional, or financial harm as a result of a criminal act committed by another person. This definition extends beyond the initial target of the crime to include those who experience harm as a consequence of the criminal act. So we're talking not just the individual, but their family, our community, our tribal nation. So it really makes me feel really good to be a part of a training that wraps our people in the love and care that we have always deserved. And I appreciate this chance to learn. Thank you, Cordelia, for acknowledging the children who attended school here in the 30s, 40s, 50s, however long they were here, and then to all of their children after that for any experiences, this trauma that endures, but also how we become stronger people through these experiences and your prayers. According to Bell Hooks, education should be a practice of freedom that allows us to confront and address the realities of injustice in society. True resistance begins with people confronting pain and wanting to change it. Hooks argued that if we acknowledge and confront our pain and we choose to act, we can initiate transformative change in our lives. Closing. Atias tirawahat, tarira ita, raskukura kitara hera. Our Father in the heavens, I know you're leading us in a good way. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to the valedictorian and Rising Star and everybody else as well. Please, a hand of applause for all of them. And now I invite President Burns to come introduce our keynote speaker. Or Ms. Britton.
So in this course, we did lectures and they watched videos and they had readings, and every week we tried to invite somebody in the criminal justice, social services, healthcare, somebody, victim compensation fund, who works with victims, and let our students get to know all the different kinds of things that they can do, all the different roads that they can take to help people. And we were so blessed that so many people answered the call and showed up. So we've already been introduced to Charlie Hanger, who honors us with his presence today. Judge Jim White from Citizen Potawatomi Nation was one of our speakers. He's here today. And then as our speaker for graduation, I'd like to welcome Mr. Arvo Mikkonen, who is a Kiowa Comanche. He's an attorney and is an enrolled citizen of the Kiowa tribe. He's been president of the Oklahoma Indian Bar Association for over 30 years. And as an aside, I'll say, as someone who practices Indian law for about 30 years, that he is one of the most famous and respected Indian law lawyers in the United States of America, and we are so lucky to have him here. Mr. Mikkonen has been employed as a prosecutor and has worked as an attorney in civil business practice at an Oklahoma City law firm. He served as an adjunct professor of law and associate director of the Native American Legal Assistance Clinic at the Oklahoma City University School of Law. He also served as a trial and appellate judge with the Court of Indian Offenses and Court of Indian Appeals for the Anadarko area tribes and was Chief Justice of the Cheyenne-Arapaho Supreme Court. He has also served as an interim associate justice of the Supreme Court of the Kiowa tribe. He is a 1983 Phi Beta Kappa and honors graduate of Dartmouth College, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts in Government and certification in Native American Studies. He graduated from Yale Law School. He also served as president of the nationwide National Native American Bar Association twice. Mr. McKinnon still actively practices in federal court. He is a frequent instructor for law enforcement and attorneys, having given over 350 workshops, symposia, and instructional seminars. Please welcome Mr. Arvo McKinnon. Thank you.
This is the first time that I've been in this building. This is a very special place, and special not only for its significance, but special because of all the people that are here. I've worked with tribal leaders over the years. One of my favorite tribal leaders that I used to listen to was from the Sac and Fox Nation. She was the secretary. Her name was Mary McCormick. I don't know if anybody has ever, she's since passed, but has anybody ever heard her or listened to her presentations? One thing that I always liked when she spoke was that she shared something about Sac and Fox culture with the audience. And she spoke to a lot of non-Indian audiences quite frequently, and there was one time I was listening to her, and it was an amusing story. She said, "I want to share my language with you. I'm going to teach you a word in Sac and Fox." And basically in our language, it means a place where two rivers diverge or split. Now, everybody in the crowd would listen. Okay, I want you to pronounce this word. The word is Chicago. And so there's a lot of our roots are everywhere throughout America. There was a Cherokee friend of mine who I'd like to visit with. He's an attorney who he speaks more Kiowa than I think he does Cherokee. And that's just because of our conversations with one another. Another friend of mine in Santa Fe, New Mexico is the same way. He said, I hear more Kiowa than I do my own language, Osage, out here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'm sure many of you have been to a powwow and heard the word aho. That's our word for thank you. So I wanted to share a word with you today in that spirit and tradition. So I'm going to ask you to respond in a moment. The response is get aiga. Get aiga. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to say get aiga in a minute and explain to you what that means. So if you meet somebody in Kiowa, we don't have a word for hello. There's no such thing. So what we say is ha aim po hyomda. Ha aim po hyomda. Are there any Kiowas here? You know what that means? Okay. Don't give it away. Ha aim po hyomda. Okay, get ready to respond with the word get aiga. Okay, ready? Ha aim po hyomda. 1, 2, 3. Get aiga. Okay, ha aim po hyomda means how are you? How are you? And get aiga is good. Okay. So I think that kind of captures, in a traditional way, what today's about. This is a good day. This is a very good thing that's going on. I work with crime victims. I have for 30 years, or actually longer than that, almost 40 years. So that's one of the most honorable things that you can do in our communities with a law degree. Native nations are doing so many things. I remember when I was back here at Pawnee, I used to go to tribal court here, and you heard I was a tribal judge for a number of tribes, including the Pawnee. Pawnees were one of the leaders. They were the first tribal court to break away from the Court of Indian Offenses. They're sometimes known as the CFR court. So they established their tribal court a long time ago. So it's kind of hard to believe that so much progress has been made in tribal nations here in Oklahoma. And sometimes we refer to people as lawyers or working in the legal system, and you don't have to be a lawyer to help people in the legal system. You don't have to be a lawyer. And so I would call you all advocacy warriors. because you're going to be advocating for crime victims, advocating for the people you help, and sometimes, in some cases, advocating for defendants who are charged, because that's part of the system as well. So I'm sure one of you, or each of you, have probably been influenced on your new journey that you're undertaking. So I'd like to ask for you to think to yourself, who was it that influenced you to do this? And also to identify who others out in the community that you might want to emulate. Because for each person to move forward, to devote the time, usually it's because of a relationship. It's because of somebody did something for them, somebody helped them, somebody inspired them. You know, who was it for you? Was it a professor? Was it a family member? Was it even a TV show or a movie you watched? Was it somebody who made a difference in your life? Was it a tribal leader? So I want to share a little bit about who influenced me. His name was William Quitone. He was born in 1911. When he was born, he spoke only Kiowa. He did not speak English, so he had to learn English language. He raised 11 children in a 2-room house, no electricity, no running water, and he worked very hard his whole life. This was just north of the Wichita Mountains on a small creek that's called Jimmy Creek, and he became what I would call an advocacy warrior. He wrote our tribal constitution. He served as an elected leader. He was the head of our tribal housing authority. For me, it was important because he was my grandfather. And he forged the way and was my inspiration. So capture somebody in your life that you think will keep you on this journey. I know this is the first of maybe 3 steps to the completion of your hopefully ability to actually be an advocate in tribal court. So looking back over time, one thing that I think is really interesting is doing a little bit of research about our history, where we come from. I was very fortunate to be able to work in our first tribal court system in Oklahoma. Now, for those of you who've been around for a long time, we didn't have tribal jurisdiction. We didn't have the exercise of our sovereignty. Everybody thought that things were different in Oklahoma. The Oklahoma tribes were somehow didn't have the same authority as they do on large land-based reservations. But it was a handful of attorneys who went to court that reestablished our jurisdiction, and that's what allows us to have tribal courts. That's what allows us to have our authority still, because the state thought that they had taken it away, and the Congress had never taken it away. So that's the other thing when we talk about tribal sovereignty, is to hang on to it. And working through the tribal court system is one way to do it. So that was the other thing. When I came back, I was 20 years old. I was still in college. I worked in the tribal court system in Anadarko. And at the age of 20, then I graduated in 27. I was a judge. So, you can move on to big things pretty quickly. I did some research. I like to look at old pictures. I did a really interesting project researching about the Osage murders. And I went through some Smithsonian records. I found a photograph of my great-great-grandfather. And strangely enough, he was a judge in that very same court that I had interned in, and then I was a judge of, and I didn't even know what his name was. It was Chal Kongya. That means black goose. And I had always heard about one of my ancestors. They used to call him judge, and then I finally figured out that piece of the puzzle. That was so. Maybe there's somebody in your background there somewhere that has influenced you, and you don't even realize it. Some of the other people that influenced me, of course, the Pawnee Nation has a whole family of Echo Hawks who are very prominent attorneys. Other folks, Browning Pipestem, who is Oto and Osage, he helped establish the court system. Another individual, Truman Carter. Truman Carter was an influence to me. Truman Carter, now, does anybody have a tribal car tag? Anybody, a car? He's the one that first came up with the car tag idea. And so it was a one person Indian lawyer. And so every time I go down the road, I always get reminded of Truman Carter, because he was an official with the Sac and Fox Nation and was the one that actually put the first car tag on his car. It was 00001, and the sheriff pulled him over and said, "You can't do that. You can't have a car tag. What are you doing? You have to have a state car tag." So it led to court, big battle, ended up at the Supreme Court of the United States. And the tribe won. And so that's why, those small little things can turn into something very significant. There's a whole lot of other people that have influenced me. Rebecca Cryer, another judge from the Potawatomi Nation. Judy Lewis, who was Onondaga. She was a prosecutor up here in the Ponca City CFR Court. George Tabone Jr., another judge that's Kiowa. Kirk Kickingbird, who worked for years and years in the Indian law system. So there was at one time when we just had a handful of Indian lawyers, maybe 3 or 4, but now there are literally thousands. So that's a huge thing that's changed. One thing I would like to challenge you to do is do something, a small step like that. Once you get into the system, whether or not it's helping an individual, whether or not it's giving a speech or statement about tribal sovereignty. A lot of people in this state, a lot of our non-Indians and the state locals, they don't understand tribal sovereignty. They think it's a threat or something. And it's not. It helps everybody, and particularly in the criminal jurisdiction area, when you have tribal police, state police, federal police all working together, then everyone's safer. So that's a good thing to do. The one thing that I always say that separates Indian people from other groups in our society is one thing that makes us distinct from both other minority groups, or they're Asians or blacks or Hispanic, and that is the law. The law distinguishes us because we're not just having ancestors that were indigenous. We are citizens of separate nations. And one thing that I wanted to do, and I always usually do that when I have a large group like this, is talk about Article 6. Does anybody know what Article 6 of the Constitution says? Everybody knows about the Second Amendment, right? Talking about guns or religious freedom. Everybody may know about the First Amendment, which is, freedom of speech and that kind of thing. A lot of people don't know about Article 6. Article 6 is not an amendment to the Constitution, it's part of the Constitution. And Article 6 says, all treaties made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and judges in every state shall be bound thereby. So that's one thing that we need to remind as Native people, or people that work with Native people, remind our elected leaders. Do you support the Constitution? Of course, what are they going to say? Most likely, yes. And then ask them, what about Article 6? And they're probably going to look at you like, I'm not sure what you're talking about. And let them know that. So there's a little handout here that you can pick one up on the way out. And on the back is a QR code, and you can scan this, and it'll pull up every Indian treaty that's ever been made, federal Indian treaty. So that's something to take a look at. Because it's important to remind people that the rights that we have are not just something we've come up with. This was guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution. One of the things that I always like to do, sometimes when you hear people give speeches, they might quote a poem or they might quote a writer or somebody like that. I always like to look at some of our chiefs, some of our native chiefs, the things that they have said, and it's really amazing how eloquent a lot of our leaders were in the statements that were recorded. Has anybody ever seen the movie Little Big Man? Okay, and there's a character in that movie. His name is Chief Dan George, and he played, I think the name of the character, and that was about the Cheyennes. He wasn't Cheyenne. He was Coast Salish, which is a tribe up in Washington State. And so he plays the old chief in that movie. But he gave a really influential speech that really just has been an inspiration to me, and I want to share it with you because it kind of describes the journey that we've been on as tribal nations in trying to protect our sovereignty and trying to move forward. He gave the speech in 1969, and it's a vision that I think has come true, and I think you all are examples of that, of this vision of Chief Dan George. And this is what he said. In the years since the white man came, I've seen my freedom disappear like salmon going mysteriously out to sea. The white man's strange customs, which I could not understand, have been pressed down upon me until I can no longer breathe. When I fought to protect my land and my home, I was called a savage. When I neither understood nor welcomed his way of life, I was called lazy. When I tried to rule my people, I was stripped of my authority. My nation was ignored in your history books. They were little more important in the history than the buffalo that ranged the plains. And I have been ridiculed in your plays and your motion pictures. Shall I thank you for the reserves that are left to me of my beautiful forests, for the canned fish that used to be in the rivers, for the loss of my pride and authority, even among my own people, for the lack of my will to fight back? No, I must forget what's past and gone. Give me back the courage of the olden chiefs. Let me wrestle with my surroundings. Let me again, as in the days of old, dominate my environment. Let me humbly accept this new culture and through it, rise up and go on. Like the thunderbird of old, I shall rise again out of the sea. I shall grab the instruments of the white man's success, his education, his skills, and with these new tools, I shall build my race into the proudest segment of your society. Before I follow the great chiefs who have gone before us, I shall see these things come to pass. I shall see our young braves and our chiefs sitting in houses of law and government, ruling and being ruled by the knowledge and freedoms of our great land. So shall we shatter the barriers of our isolation. So shall the next 100 years be the greatest in the proud history of our tribes and nations. So I think those are very prophetic words. And so basically what he's saying is, yes, we've been through this experience, but let's grab the instruments of success, of education, of understanding the law, and make our tribal nation stronger. And that was a prophecy in 1969 by Chief Dan George. And I look at each one of you, and I think you're part of that prophecy. So thank you for your time and devotion. It's well-deserved. Thank you for looking forward to assisting victims of crime and working in our tribal court systems. I'm sure that you will be defenders of tribal sovereignty and at the same time provide justice to individual people when they are maybe at their most vulnerable. They need help. They need somebody to advocate for them. So whether or not it be a child or helping somebody understand the complexities of the law or just having a helping hand to a victim, I think that's one of the most admirable and honorable things that you can do with your education and your hard work. So thank you. I'll send off at this point in time. Again, we didn't have a word for hello in Kiowa. We don't have a word for goodbye either. We don't say goodbye. So I still work with the tribal courts quite frequently, so I will say this to all of you, and that's Hege Aim Oya Bong Ta. That means until we see each other again, because I'm expecting to see great things out of all of you all. And also, I think the other thing is all the supporters. Everybody being here, that is a huge a recognition of the time and the friendships and the pride I'm sure that you all feel for these individuals. So again, aho, thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to visiting with you at the dinner afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McKinnon, very much for that. We want to present you with a small token of our appreciation for joining us. Another round, please. I hope, there was a lot of information in that short presentation. History, law, commitment, responsibility. When somebody gets a degree or gets educated in a field that is to help others, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And there's a lot of commitment that should be involved. And as you heard, very small steps can become big things. So think about those words, and thank you very much for that. So now we'd like to move on with President Burns will come, and we'll begin our formal part of our ceremony here with the graduates.
First, you're going to do their names, then we're going to give them the gifts. Okay. Okay. All right, graduates, please stand up. We're going to present you your certificates and gifts.
So I'll be calling your names one at a time, and please come around, receive your degrees and a gift. So we can start with Gina Bannon. We'll start with her. Get a picture that way. Yeah, let's get a picture. Cordelia, come in the picture. Ms. Angela Barnowski. It's Kisha Blair. Take the picture. Mr. James Cook.
He's not here.
Oh, not here.
He's at his grandchild's high school graduation.
All right, Ms. Electa Hare. Ms. Dolly Johnson. Ms. Heather Lewis. Mr. David Littleson. Ms. Randy Marks. Ms. Dawn Nicholas. Ms. Tammy Rain. Ms. Courtney Sweden. Ms. Margaret Twins. Ms. Timber Sampson White. Okay. Where'd she go? Oh. So to all who are here today with us, I present to you the Pawnee Nation College Certificate in Crime Victim Advocacy graduating class of 2025. Cordelia.
Oh, yeah. So you'll just sit there.
So as we, you guys can get seated or keep jumping up and down, whatever you want to do. That's fine with me. So now we'd like to invite back here Ms. Cordelia Clapp to, and I think the grounders are also participating in the Lord's Prayer. Is welcome. It's on the program. Oh, is that? Okay, all right. So in that case, we'll I know most people complain about how long these graduation things are. We're going to be done early today. So before we finish up, I'd like to invite everybody here, family members of the graduates or friends, to join us for a celebration dinner at Roan Chief at the corner of Beck and Morrison Road. So everybody is invited. Please join us if you can. And one more time, let's congratulate. Okay. And that is the end of our... Thank you very much for coming. That terminates our event. Congratulations.